Hello, you guys. It is your girl Sharr Blossoms, and I am back for another episode. I don't know how long it's been since the last time I posted an episode, y'all. And I wanted to come up on here with like this topic and just like talk about this kind of stuff to kind of relate to some things that I personally been going through. But honestly, I feel like I just kind of want to go off the dome so that way it's more organic. Check out the hair, y'all. I don't know how long I had my hair straight, but y'all know I am a curly girl. Definitely cut some of my hair, but period. I look a little short from the front, but you know, when you color your hair, you have to take care of it. You have to keep up with the trims. Okay, so anyways, y'all, I still don't really have a topic on this episode. I just kind of wanted to put some content out there, and I wanted to see what kind of content that you guys wanted to see. But on this episode, I definitely kind of want to briefly talk about toxic relationships. That's the title that came to my head when, you know, it was time for your girl to think about some things to talk about. I definitely want to incorporate other people onto my podcast. So if you are interested on being a guest, if you have, you know, something that you want me to do, we can work with each other. We can definitely collab. I'm definitely open to networking and collabing with different people, different content creators and things as such. If you have not followed me on Instagram, please feel free to follow me on Instagram at SharrBlossoms, SHARR Blossoms. I am on TikTok as well. I do have Snapchat now, but honestly, I'm really not on there like that, honestly. And on Apple Podcasts, please do not forget to follow my podcast. It's called SharrBlossomsPodcast. So the same as my Instagram, just add podcast to that. There's somebody walking up right here, but it's okay. So back to the topic of toxic relationships. I feel like a lot of people that are in toxic relationships, like they know that it's not a healthy relationship, but it's like they're so used to being in that relationship and going through those certain things with that person, so it's like a new norm for them. And it's kind of scary sometimes because a person could really be disrespecting you, whether it's verbally, physically, whatever. And when you become so numb and so used to stuff like that, it just begins to seem normal, and that is not okay. Like, people be going through stuff for multiple years at a time just because they think that that's the form of love, because that's all that they've been shown. And honestly, it's kind of hard. You know, I can't even sit up here and be like, oh yeah, I'm so perfect, like I've never been in a toxic relationship. I most definitely have. It's one thing you could say like, oh yeah, I would never let a person treat me like that. I would never do this, I would never do that. But it's just like, in reality, when you really love somebody, like you really be like going through it with them. Like, you know, everybody is completely different, but I'm sure there is a ton of people that can relate to what I'm saying. And I'm tired of being so hesitant on speaking up on certain topics, just because they might be relatable to my life. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm really like in a mood to where like I'm gonna stop holding myself back. I'm gonna stop restricting myself. I'm gonna stop limiting myself just because I'm trying to like barricade somebody else's feelings. You know, my feelings matter, my feelings are valid, and I feel like I have every right to speak on my experiences, and especially my life experiences, you know, whether or not they have other people in them or not. So my best advice for people that are in toxic relationships, like please know that it is not normal for a person to disrespect you, especially if it's on an everyday basis, all day basis. People also think that if something is just verbal abuse, that it's not a form of abuse. That is not true. A person can most definitely verbally abuse you. I've definitely went through that in the past. A person will be so proud to say, oh, but I never did this, but I never did that. You shouldn't have did none of it. What are you talking about? And not even to go into detail on my personal experiences, but you know, everybody goes through stuff. Not all relationships are meant to last. Some relationships are meant to help build our character, and they are there to help us in our future relationships. And it might suck for the moment, you know, when you and the other person, you know, aren't together anymore. But you gotta think about the reality of the situation. Was this person really benefiting me? If this person was not benefiting me, if this person was always holding me back, this person was always so negative, it wasn't benefiting you. it hurts because you're so used to that person being around. But honestly, you got to do what you got to do. You need to focus on what makes you happy, what keeps you at peace. And I honestly had to really tell myself that over the past few months, because I was going through it for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, oh yeah, I didn't feel no type of way about going through what I went through. No, you gonna go through it for a little bit, but once you really realize who the fuck you are, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, like I'm not even tripping off buddy. But you know, just being realistic, like, we're humans, we have emotions, we're gonna be sad about certain things, whether or not, you know, if the person is good for us. It's normal, it's an emotion to be sad about certain things. You know, you're used to being around a certain person for a long period of time, you know, you're gonna miss them a little bit. But after you finally realize why that person isn't in your life, you finally realize why God allowed things to happen how they were supposed to happen, you will sit there and really realize, like, wow, God was trying to tell me something the entire time and I was not listening to him. There's better on the other side. Promise you, there's somebody else out there for you. Do not allow a person to treat you how you do not want to be treated. If you don't want to be treated that way, you have every right to talk to them and communicate to them how you want to be treated. If you have to keep doing that, that's when the problem comes in. It's one thing, I'm not saying humans are perfect, so when you are in a relationship, like, things aren't going to be perfect, like, we all know that. But there are certain boundaries that you have to set up with the person, especially when you are with a partner. There are certain boundaries, and if that person continues to not meet those boundaries, you should already know what to do. And like I say, it's not easy to just up and leave somebody, but you know, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. You really have to focus on your happiness. And I know I said that before, you really have to focus on what makes you happy. Even if temporarily you're sad for a bit, after that, you have to do what makes you happy. Go find what you like to do. Go, you know, just do things that truly make you happy. And it just came to a point to where when I was in a situation that I was in, I didn't even remember what made me happy because I was so used to being around another person, do what another person likes to do all the time. You know what I mean? And it kind of sucked because I felt like I was like restarting in a way. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, when you starting over, like starting at a new job or anything like that, you know, it's gonna feel a little awkward. But you know, once you get comfortable with the new life and everything, you'll be just fine. Like, I feel like a lot of us, if you're like me, we be in our head a lot about certain things, overthinking constantly, you know, things of that sort. But everything works out how it's supposed to work out. If you believe in a higher power, which I believe in God, I truly believe that everything will work out exactly how it needs to work out. And there's no need to question what God, you know, is putting you through. There used to be a point in time where I used to question the situation that I was going through. Like, why did things end how it ended? Why did this person treat me like this? Why did this person treat me like that? But it's just like, in the reality of the situation, it's like everything happens for a reason. If a person abruptly is out of your life when you guys were good, well, you thought you guys were good, trust me, it's not just random. God saw some things that you did not see, and he wanted you to see it. And like I keep saying, it's gonna suck for a little bit, but guess what, baby, you got this. You got this. So I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I'm not gonna talk y'all ears off too much longer. So yeah, I hope you guys get some helpful advice on dealing with toxic relationships. Trust me, girl, trust me, boy, you are not alone. Your girl has gone through it too, whether it seems like it or not. That's why it's not good to judge a book by its cover, because you never know what a person has been through. But I hope you guys have a blessed and prosperous day. It's your girl, Sharr Blossoms. Feel free to follow my podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's SharrBlossomsPodcast. But yeah, y'all, follow me on Instagram at SharrBlossoms, and we out. Bye, y'all.